I don't love people. That doesn't really ring with me now, though I could have said it then. You know, that I could have said anything then because you were, you know, you know, what I remember saying is actually, you can never trust the poets, but you can always trust the poem. That's what I remember.
I remember don't love people, love poetry. Is that what I remember? Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I decided to reach out to the person who first really broke my heart, Bob, because I have a memory from when he did and how it changed me. He helped me switch my dependence on people to a dependence on my own art. What I remember is I was in college in Rhode Island, and he had a poetry club in New York, and I used to get myself out of the comfort zone, pack a bag with things that were not quite me, take the train, and get the guts to walk up the stairs and recite poetry in this club. What I remember most is my first night. I was on stage, I was nervous, and I could see him in a spotlight in the back. He stood up from his seat and he started clapping these huge, magnanimous claps at my direction. Like, whoa, this girl has it. He said as much.
you know, I never met anyone so full of life, you know, as you. You know, and you impede yourself plenty, but you can feel it in you, Ilana.
You can imagine what that would do for an over-disciplined girl in college. It filled me with the sense of being powerful, and I threw myself after him, like hitching yourself to a star, becoming obsessed with something that could make you bigger than you are. I knew he had a wife, this beautiful painter, actually, but it didn't matter. I ripped my chest open and I ran after him.
I remember having a bit of, this obsession in heartbreak.
I held my hope for what I might be with him. Those were my wings. And then one night, this was the most important night, he started to drive away from the club after it was over, and I went racing after him with all of my hopes to hitch myself to this powerful person. And he saw me behind the car and he pulled over, and I scrambled into the car. And that's when I remember the moment that changed my life. He said to me, "Don't love people, love poetry." For me, a flip switched. It was stop attaching to people and start attaching to your internal work. That's what I did. I attached to the work for years after. I put all of that energy into creative things, and it would keep me in a way stable. It's not that the cycle was over for me, not at all, because I kept falling in love with distant cowboys who had all the knowledge, and I would unzip my chest for the distant cowboy. But the difference was, in heartbreak, I knew exactly where to go. Defend your heart and turn to the work. I sometimes wondered if this was just a defensive cave I was in, so that was one reason I turned to Bob.
If you remember, don't trust people, trust the poem. It's the same thing because, you know, I think all people are poets. We all use language, and language, you know, if it weren't for poetry, there wouldn't be language. You know, people had to name things, which is what the poem is still doing. You know, there's you and there's the universe. I mean, it's, you know, hell is other people. But I don't find it at all a defense. I find it a return, an essence, to return to the essence. And heartbreak is a great time to remember and find it. And underneath it, there is the poem. I mean, it's always there. You know, of course, what I'm really interested in is the next poem. You know, thank goodness for the next poem. The people come and go. You know, the poem is always there and it's always changing its form. And it's not that it's better, it's just that it's always there. That's the thing. You can count on the poem. Now the poem will changes also as you change. When you go back and read those poems, they don't mean the same thing anymore. Language is the essence of being human, and poetry is the essence of language. And it should be, it's, you know, people use it on a daily basis. They just would never admit to it.
I do get what you're saying, but a side of me is also feeling there was a part of me that was so hurt over the purely personal. Have you run into that a lot in your relationships where you're focused on the poem, like people want you back in the personal?
Well, when they want me back to be more present, it's generally not the poem that's on my mind. Maybe that's a difference between you and me. Maybe it is for you, that place where you are is the poem. For me, that's a place just of fears and horrors and my whatever else. So it's not either or for me. You know, the poem is always there, regardless of the pain or the love. But it's an inspiration for both parts. Maybe it's more of an, you know, you have a lot of love poems. You don't have so many breakup poems, you know. You got the blues.
Anyone can tell you there's no more road to ride. Everyone will tell you there's no place